I sat on the couch with Lena that evening, believing nothing was wrong. I remember the warm light from the lamp, the quiet sound of the street outside, and the way she avoided my eyes. I tried to talk about dinner plans, work, and weekend movies, but she only nodded. Something felt strange, but I didn't want to believe it. "Lena, what's going on?" I finally asked. She took a slow breath. "We need to talk." My heart tightened. I laughed a little, trying to keep things normal. "Okay, about what?" "About us," she said. I froze. "Us?" She nodded. "I don't think this is working anymore." I felt the words hit me like cold water. "What do you mean?" "We've been together 3 years. We're planning our future. We talked about apartments, marriage, everything." She looked away. "I know, but I don't feel the same anymore." "Since when?" I whispered. "For a while," she said. "I just didn't know how to tell you." I stood up, pacing. "Is it something I did? Something I didn't do?" "It's not about that," she said. "It's just, I don't feel the spark anymore." "The spark?" I echoed. "Lena, relationships aren't always fireworks. We worked through exams, jobs, stress. I was there for everything. I stayed up helping you study. I took extra shifts so you wouldn't worry about bills. I thought we were building something real." She sighed. "I know you did a lot. And I'm grateful. But I've changed and you haven't." I stared at her. "What does that mean?" She hesitated. "You're just not my type anymore." The room went silent. My ears rang. "Not your type?" "You're comfortable," she said. "Dependable. But I want someone more ambitious, more confident, someone who fits the life I see for myself." The words cut deep. "So I'm not good enough for the life you want?" She whispered. "I didn't say that, but that's what you mean." My voice broke. "Who is he?" She froze. Her silence answered everything. "His name is Ryan," she finally said. I felt sick. "How long?" "A few months," she said softly. "We met at a networking event." He understands my goals. He makes me feel alive. I didn't plan for this to happen. "You didn't plan?" I laughed sharply. "You cheated, Lena. You were with me while you fell for someone else." She wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry." "No, you're not," I said. "You made a choice," she stood. "I just wanted to tell you the truth." "The truth?" I stepped back. "You told me the truth after you already moved on. After I gave you everything I could. After I believed in us." She looked at the door. "I didn't want to hurt you." "You already did." She reached for her bag. "I hope you find someone who appreciates you." I couldn't speak. I watched her walk to the door. I thought she would turn back. But she didn't. The door closed, and silence filled the room. I sat on the floor because my legs wouldn't hold me. I don't know how long I stayed there. Minutes, an hour, maybe more. My chest hurt, like something was breaking inside. I tried to call Daniel. My voice cracked when he answered. "Ethan, what happened?" "She left," I said. "What do you mean she left?" She said I'm not her type anymore. There was a long pause. "Did she cheat?" "Yes," he cursed under his breath. "Where are you?" "I'm coming." "No," I said. "I need to be alone." "Don't do anything stupid," he said quietly. "I'll check on you tomorrow." When the call ended, the apartment felt too large. Too quiet. Everything reminded me of her. The blanket she loved. The mug she used. The books we shared. I curled my hands into fists. "Not her type," I whispered. I had given her everything. I thought love was enough. I thought loyalty meant something. That night, I learned how wrong I was. The next day, someone told me they saw Lena and Ryan together, laughing, smiling, as if our 3 years were nothing more than a stepping stone. My world didn't just break. It shattered, and I couldn't look away from the pieces. Kept hearing her words in my head, circling like a wound that refused to close. I wondered if she loved me at all, or if I was a place for her to rest until something shinier came along. The thought hollowed me out. I woke up on the couch again. I didn't remember falling asleep. My head felt heavy and the room smelled like cold coffee. I stared at the ceiling, hearing Lena's voice repeating the same line. "You're not my type anymore." It echoed every time I blinked. Daniel called in the morning. "Open your door," he said. "I'm already outside." I dragged myself up and opened it. He looked at me and shook his head. "You look like hell." "I feel worse," I said. He stepped inside. "You've got to eat something." "I'm not hungry." "You haven't eaten in 2 days," he said. "This isn't just heartbreak. This is collapse." I just need time, I whispered. He sighed. Time won't fix anything if you don't move. I sat down on the couch staring at my hands. I don't know how to move. She was everything. Daniel sat beside me. She wasn't everything. You just gave her everything. I didn't reply. I couldn't argue because he was right. Later, my mom called. I didn't want her to worry, but she heard the emptiness in my voice. Come home for dinner, she said. I don't want to talk about it, I muttered. You don't have to talk. Just come, I went. She made soup, like when I was a kid. She didn't ask about Lena, didn't push, didn't preach. She just sat with me. I didn't realize how much I needed that silence, that warmth. At the table, she reached out and touched my hand. You're not broken, she said. Just wounded. Wounds heal. I felt tears rise, but I forced them down. I don't feel like I'll heal. You will, she said softly. But you need to stand again first. Standing felt impossible, but the world didn't stop just because my heart did. I had to return to work. My co-workers noticed I was quiet, but no one knew why. I kept my eyes down and drowned myself in assignments. If I was exhausted, I didn't have to feel. That's when I met Maya. She sat at the desk across from mine. I had seen her before, but I never really saw her. This time she looked at me for a moment longer than people usually do. Rough week? She asked gently. I didn't want pity. Something like that. She nodded, not pushing. No questions. No guessing. Just acceptance. At lunch, she sat beside me silently while I poked at food I couldn't taste. You don't have to talk, she said, but you also don't have to be alone. Her voice was quiet, like she wasn't trying to fix anything. Just to exist beside me. I didn't realize how much that meant until later. Days passed like slow rain. I woke up, worked, returned home, slept, repeated. Pain dulled but didn't leave. Sometimes it stabbed. Sometimes it just ached. Daniel kept checking in. You good? No. Staying alive? Trying. That's enough for now, he'd say. One night, I sat in my room scrolling through old photos. Lena laughing. Lena leaning on my shoulder. Lena kissing my cheek. I remembered her saying, I'll always choose you. And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how stupidly I had believed it. I whispered to myself, I was just a placeholder. The room felt small. My chest tightened. I walked outside and sat on the steps until the cold air steadied me. The next morning I walked into work early. Maya was already there, sipping tea. You're here early, she said. Couldn't sleep. She nodded. Me neither sometimes. I sat down. She didn't ask about my night. She didn't need to. Her silence made space for mine. After a while, she spoke softly. When something ends, it feels like you lost yourself. But you didn't. You're still here. I looked at her. It doesn't feel like it. I know, she said. But feeling isn't truth. It's just the wound talking. Something in her tone made my eyes sting. I turned away before tears formed. She didn't look away. She didn't stare. She just stayed. That was the first time I felt a thread, thin, fragile, barely there, but real. A pull toward standing again. I wasn't healed. I wasn't close, but for the first time since Lena left, I didn't feel completely alone. I realized healing wasn't a moment. It was steps, breaths, being willing to keep waking up even when it hurt. And I was still waking up, so maybe that was enough. I sat at my desk early again. I wasn't sure if I was healing or just avoiding the empty feeling in my apartment, but I was here. I was working. I was breathing. That counted for something. Maya noticed before I said anything. She always did. She walked in with her quiet morning and set her tea down. I nodded back. You sleep? She asked. A little, I said. That's better than nothing. She spoke softly, without pushing. We didn't talk about Lena. We didn't talk about Ryan. We didn't talk about betrayal or heartbreak or how I tried to hold everything together until it shattered in my hands. She never asked for that story. She let me offer what I could, when I could. Later that afternoon, she leaned her elbow on my cubicle wall. There's a cafe 2 blocks down, she said. Their tea is decent. Come with me, I hesitated. I still have... You've been staring at spreadsheets for 3 hours, she interrupted gently. Come breathe with me. I exhaled, slow and shaky. Okay, the cafe was small, dim, warm. She ordered chamomile. I ordered black coffee. We sat near the window. She warmed her hands around the mug. "You don't have to talk," she said. I nodded, grateful for the permission. I didn't speak about Lena, but the silence said enough. When her phone buzzed, she ignored it. I watched the steam curl up from her cup and felt something loosen in my chest. Something tiny. But real the next week, she found me again. "Take a walk with me," I raised an eyebrow. "Maya, you know I'm not exactly thrilling company." "I'm not asking for entertainment," she said. "I'm asking for company," so we walked. Streetlights glowed orange against the early evening. Leaves crunched beneath our shoes. I listened to the rhythm of our steps because words felt too heavy. She finally spoke. "You don't have to be okay right now." "I know," I whispered. "But you're trying," she continued. "And that matters." We reached the corner before I could answer. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. She didn't need more. Days turned into small routines. Coffee breaks. Quiet lunches. Shared glances that weren't pity, just understanding. Then one night, I opened my phone and saw Lena smiling in a designer dress. Ryan stood next to her, hand on her waist, at some resort I couldn't name. The caption read, "Found my forever." I thought I was numb by now. But the pain still hit, sharp, cold, humiliating. My chest tightened. I almost threw the phone. Instead, I just sat there, breathing through it. The next day at work, Mr. Cole approached my desk. "You've been taking initiative lately," he said. "I notice details like that." "I'd like to mentor you." "If you're interested," I blinked. "Me?" "Yes, you," he said. "You have potential. The kind that doesn't fade." I felt something flicker inside me, not happiness, not yet, but a direction, a path, a possibility. "I'd like that," I said. His smile was approving, but not warm. Professional, motivated. "Good. We start Monday." When he walked away, I realized my hands were shaking. Not from fear, from wanting something again. Later, Maya found me eating outside. "You look different," she said. I said slowly, "I can see a future again." "A small one. But it's there," she smiled. Not wide, not bright, but steady. Good. Her presence didn't fix me, but she held space for me to try. A week later, she suggested we try a weekend market downtown. I almost said no, but she raised an eyebrow like she expected the answer to be yes. So I went. We walked through stalls of flowers, handmade soaps, and pastries. She held up a tiny cactus in a painted pot. "This looks like you," she said. I laughed. "How does a cactus look like me?" "Small, quiet, survives with very little," she said. "But still alive. Still growing." I stared at the cactus longer than necessary. "Maybe I'll buy it." "You should," she encouraged, so I did. I carried it home like it was something delicate. And in a way, it felt like the first thing I chose for myself in a long time. That night, I placed it by my window. I whispered, "We'll try again tomorrow," even though I wasn't talking to the cactus. Maybe I was talking to me. I walked into the office one morning and realized I wasn't drowning anymore. Months had passed. I worked hard, learned fast, and one day, Mr. Cole called me into his office. "You've earned this," he said, sliding a promotion letter toward me. I stared at it. "Are you sure?" "You did the work," he replied. "Own your progress." I thanked him and walked out feeling like a different person. Maya found me in the hallway. "Good news?" I nodded. "Promotion," she smiled, that small, steady smile of hers. I knew you'd get it. Her belief in me had been quiet, constant. I didn't know how to thank her for that. Over time, we spent more evenings together. Walks after work. Tea in the break room. Silence that didn't feel empty. But sometimes, when she laughed, my chest tightened. I was afraid of wanting again. Afraid of losing again. One evening, she asked, "Why do you always pull back?" I hesitated. "Because last time I trusted love, I broke." She nodded. "I won't push you. Just don't run from yourself." Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A name I hadn't seen in months. Lena. Just seeing it made my hands shake. "Can we talk?" Her message read. "I miss us." Maya saw my face. "You okay?" I forced out, "It's Lena." Maya didn't react with surprise or jealousy. She only said, "Whatever you choose, choose it for you." I didn't respond to Lena that night. I tried to ignore it, but the message sat there like a weight. Finally, I typed, "We can meet." One time, we met at a cafe far from everywhere we used to go. When I walked in, I barely recognized her. She looked tired. Not physically, emotionally. "You look good," she said, forcing a smile. I sat down. "Why did you want to talk?" She wrapped her hands around her latte like she was cold. "Things haven't been easy," I waited. "Ryan, he's different than I thought," she whispered. "He gets angry. He gets jealous. He controls everything I do." I stared at her. "And what does that have to do with me?" Her eyes filled. "I made a mistake. I thought I needed someone more impressive. But you were the one who truly cared." I felt the old ache stir, but it didn't break me this time. "You didn't leave because I wasn't enough," I said quietly. "You left because you wanted something shiny, something you thought would validate you. You didn't choose love. You chose image," she flinched. "I know. And I regret it every day," I leaned back. "I begged you to stay once. I won't do it again." She reached out as if to touch my hand, but I pulled back. "Ethan." "You wanted ambition?" I said. "I became it. Without you." Her tears spilled. "Can you ever forgive me?" I looked at her. Really looked. The girl I once loved had become a stranger trying to hold on to a memory. "I forgave you a long time ago," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean return." Silence stretched between us, heavy and final. She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I just wanted to see you." One more time, I stood. "Goodbye, Lena." When I walked outside, the air felt lighter, like I'd put down something I had carried for far too long, and for the first time, I realized I wasn't the man she left anymore. I had become someone new. On my way home, I kept thinking about the cafe. When I reached my apartment, I sat on the couch in the dark. My phone buzzed. It was Maya. "Walk?" she wrote. I replied, "Yes." We met at the small park near my building. Streetlights glowed softly. Maya sat beside me. "So," she asked, "did you get what you needed?" I breathed out. "I think so. I saw the past. And I didn't want it anymore," she nodded. "Then you're healing," I looked at her. I was afraid I'd fall apart again. "But I didn't," Maya smiled gently. "You've grown. Even when you didn't notice." I stared at the ground. "I still don't know what comes next." "You don't need to," she said. "Just keep stepping forward." I noticed her hand beside mine. I didn't take it, but I didn't move away either. We sat quietly, sharing the night air. The silence felt peaceful, not empty. In that moment, I realized healing didn't come all at once, but it was happening, piece by piece. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the glow of my phone screen, Lena's name popping up again and again. "Please, can we talk?" "I need you." I made a mistake. The messages stacked like bricks pressing on my chest. I deleted one, then another, then stopped because my hands were shaking. Daniel called me right then. "She at it again?" he asked. I sighed. "Yep. Bro, block her." "I can't. You can. You just don't want to. He wasn't wrong." "It still hurts," I admitted. "Of course it hurts." "She ripped your heart out. But you're not that guy lying on my couch half dead anymore." He paused. "And Maya. She's been good for you." My chest tightened. "She has. I don't want to hurt her. Or myself. So talk to her. Be honest." I nodded even though he couldn't see me. "I will." When I got to work the next day, Maya was already at her desk. She looked up at me with her usual gentle expression. "Rough night?" "You could say that," I said, forcing a small laugh. She didn't push. She never did. Instead, she slid a warm cup of coffee toward me. "Extra sugar. You look like you need it." Her quiet understanding did something to me that words never could. Later, during lunch break, we sat outside under a patch of sunlight. I told her, "Lena keeps calling me." Maya's eyes softened, but she didn't flinch. "How does that make you feel?" I stared at my hands. "Confused, angry, sad, I don't know. I thought I was past this. You're healing. Healing isn't straight." She smiled gently. "It bends, it loops, but you're moving forward." I looked at her then, really looked. "Why are you always so kind to me?" She shrugged lightly. "Because I care. Not because I want anything from you, just because I do." Her words settled deep in me. That night, Lena called again. This time I answered. Her voice cracked immediately. "I miss you." I closed my eyes. "Lena, please just hear me." I was stupid. I thought I needed someone more successful, more confident. But I was wrong. Ryan doesn't care about me. He just cares about how I look next to him. I feel like a decoration. I thought leaving you would make me happier, but all I did was destroy myself. Her pain was real. I could hear it. But I also remembered my own pain, night after night, floorboards and tears. I loved you, I said quietly. With everything I had, I know. And I threw it away, but I can fix it. We can fix it. We can go back. We can't. My voice broke, but I held steady. She went silent. I'm not the same anymore, I continued. And I can't be who I was for you again. But I still love you, she whispered. I hope you heal, I said. Truly, but I can't come back. She cried softly and the call ended. I sat there with the quiet ringing in my ears. A moment later, I messaged Maya. Are you awake? Yeah, she replied. Can we talk? She called instantly. I'm here, she said. I exhaled shakily. Lena wants to get back together. And you? I told her no. The words surprised me even as I said them. I chose not to go back. There was a warm pause. I'm proud of you. I'm scared, I admitted. I don't know what comes next. We figure it out, she said. One step. One breath. Together, if you're okay with that. My throat tightened. I think I'd like that. Then we'll start there, she whispered. And for the first time in a long time, my chest didn't feel broken. It felt open. The next morning, I woke lighter. Not healed, but lighter. I saw myself in the mirror and didn't see the man begging someone to stay. I saw someone learning to stand again. At work, Maya greeted me with a small smile. I sat beside her, our shoulders close but not touching. I didn't need to announce anything. She didn't need to ask. Coffee, she asked. Yeah, I said. Life didn't feel like something happening to me anymore. It felt like something I was choosing. Maybe love wasn't something to chase or prove. Maybe it was built slowly, gently, over time, and maybe I was ready to start. I finally breathed easier before in months. I stood outside Maya's apartment door with my heart racing. I had rehearsed the words 100 times, but my hands still shook. When she opened the door, she smiled softly, gently, the kind of smile that had saved me more times than she knew. Hey, she said. Hey. I swallowed. Can we talk? She stepped aside. Of course. We sat on her couch, a simple gray couch I had seen many times. But today it felt different. I felt different. I've been thinking a lot, I began. She nodded slowly. I figured. I want to say this right, I said. You've been here for me in ways I didn't know I needed. You never pushed me. You never tried to replace what I lost. You just stayed, and I didn't realize how much that meant to me until now. Her eyes softened. I stayed because I care. I didn't want to see you drown in something you didn't deserve. I exhaled shakily. Maya, I think I'm in love with you. She blinked, tears forming instantly. You mean that? I do, I really do. And I was scared to say it because I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want my past to stain something good. A tear rolled down her cheek. You're not broken, you know. You've just been hurt. I reached for her hand. She squeezed mine like she had been waiting forever to do it. I love you, she whispered. The words hit me like warmth after winter. I leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't desperate. It wasn't rushed. It was gentle, safe, real. After we pulled back, I laughed quietly. So, I guess this means we're together now? She smiled with soft joy. Yeah, I think so. Days turned into months and our love unfolded naturally. We cooked meals together, walked in the evenings, laughed about small things, shared our fears, and learned to trust silence. There was no chasing, no proving, no begging. Everything felt steady. One evening while we sat in the park, Maya leaned her head on my shoulder. You look happy, she said. I am, I replied. For the first time in a long time, my mom adored her. Daniel teased me endlessly, but told me, don't mess this up. She's too good. I worked hard, saved, planned. And when the year mark came, I took Maya back to the park where we always sat. My hands shook again, but for a different reason. Maya, I said. She looked up. I knelt. Her breath caught. I want to build a life with you. Not because you saved me, but because you stayed. Because you saw me when I couldn't see myself. Will you marry me? Her hands flew to her mouth as tears streamed. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." We hugged, and I felt something settle inside me, a peace I had never known. We held a small engagement dinner with just a few close friends and family. Nothing flashy, just warm lights and soft music. Maya held my hand the whole evening, her thumb brushing circles on my skin. My mother hugged her like she had been part of the family forever. Daniel made a dumb toast about how he always knew I'd stop making terrible decisions someday. People laughed. I laughed too. But beneath it all, I felt something calm and grounding. I no longer felt like I was fighting to be enough. I was enough and loved in a way that felt honest and safe. Later that night, I sat with my mom at our kitchen table. She looked at me with proud, emotional eyes. "You found someone who loves you the way you deserve," she said. "I did," I replied, "and you love her the same way back." "That matters," I nodded slowly. "Yeah, it does." Daniel came by later and clapped me on the back. "About time, man. Took you long enough." "You act like you knew everything," I said. "I always knew she loved you." Maybe he was right. That night I lay in bed thinking about the past. The pain, the heartbreak, the version of me who begged someone to stay. And I realized something. I had finally forgiven myself, not Lena, not the pain. Me. I let myself breathe again. I let myself open up. I let myself believe I could be loved and not broken. Maya curled beside me, half asleep, and whispered, "Are you okay?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "I'm good," and I meant it. I held the phone in my hand that morning, not expecting anything unusual. Maya and I had just posted our wedding photos the night before. The comments were warm. Friends, family, coworkers. People wrote things like, "You two look perfect," and "I can feel the love in these pictures." I smiled because it was true. Maya walked into the kitchen. "Did you sleep well?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "I think I finally slept without a single bad dream." She laughed softly. "That's progress." We sat and ate breakfast together, simple eggs and toast. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt. No pressure, no pretending, just us. Then my phone buzzed. I didn't look at it at first. But when it buzzed again and again, I picked it up. It was Lena. Her first message said, "I saw the photos." The second said, "I can't stop crying." Then there were voice notes. I didn't play them. I didn't want her voice inside my head again. Maya looked at me quietly. "Do you need a moment?" "I think so," I said. "But don't go. Just stay with me," she nodded. "I'm here." I opened the thread. "Please," Lena wrote. "Please talk to me. I'm sorry. I was stupid. I didn't know what I had. I thought Ryan was everything, but he wasn't. He treated me like I was replaceable. You never did. You always made me feel safe. I threw away the best thing in my life. Please. Please don't ignore me." My hands didn't shake. My chest didn't hurt. I was surprised by that. Maya watched my face. "Not afraid. Not jealous. Just present. What are you feeling?" she asked. I searched inside myself. "Nothing," I said softly. "I think..." "Nothing." Lena sent another message. "I saw the way you looked at her in those photos. No one has ever looked at me like that. I wanted that. I wanted to be loved like that. I made a mistake. I chose wrong. Please, just talk to me. I need to hear your voice." I let out a slow breath. Maya whispered, "You don't owe her anything." "I know," I said. I typed a message, then deleted it. I typed another, deleted it too. "What would you say?" Maya asked gently. "I don't know," I admitted. "I think anything I say would just open old wounds." There was a long silence, but it felt comfortable. Maya touched my hand. "You could just..." "Let it end here," I nodded. "Yeah, I think I want to." Lena sent another message. "Do you remember the night we planned our future?" "I've been thinking about it. I ruined everything." "You were the one." "You always were. I'm begging you. Please don't turn your back on me." I stared at the words. "I begged once," I said quietly. "I begged for her to stay, and she walked away without looking back." Maya didn't say anything. She didn't need to. "I don't hate her," I continued. "Not anymore. I think that's what surprises me the most." "She was a lesson," Maya said. "Yeah," I said. "A painful one. But I grew." I scrolled one more time. The last message said, "I don't deserve forgiveness, but I wish you would at least say something," I whispered. "I forgive you." But I don't want you in my life anymore. I didn't send it. I just said it out loud so it existed. Then I held down on the message thread and clicked delete conversation. It was gone. Maya leaned into me and rested her head on my shoulder. You okay? I think I finally am, I said. We sat together like that for a long time. No words, just breathing. Later, Daniel called to ask how married life felt. I laughed. It feels like peace, man. Real peace, he whistled. That's the good kind. When I hung up, I thought about who I used to be. The boy who thought love meant sacrifice. The boy who believed pain was normal. I wasn't that boy anymore. I placed my hand over Maya's and said, "Thank you for walking with me through all of it." She smiled. Always. Later that night, while we lay in bed, Maya whispered, "Are you sure you're okay?" I smiled. Yeah, I closed that door. She squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you. I didn't gain revenge. I gained myself. I gained love that didn't hurt. I gained a life I chose, and that was enough. I sat on the balcony of our new apartment, watching the city glow under the evening sky. Maya leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder. The air was quiet, calm, the way calm feels after a long storm. I held her hand and felt the warmth of her fingers, steady and real. I finally understood what peace felt like. Not the forced kind, not the kind that comes from pretending everything is okay. Real peace, Maya whispered. You're thinking again. I smiled.
You know me too well, she laughed softly.
You think loud. I'm just remembering, I said. The past? She asked. Yeah, I admitted. All of it. She didn't pull away. She didn't try to fix the silence. She just stayed. That was the difference. She didn't treat my pain like a problem. She treated it like something that shaped me. I took a slow breath. I used to think love meant giving everything until it hurt. I used to think that begging someone to stay was normal. I used to think losing myself was part of loving someone. Maya looked up at me. But you don't believe that anymore. No, I said. Not anymore. I remembered the boy I was, shaking hands, sleepless nights, starving myself just to keep someone else's happiness intact. I remembered how small I felt, how invisible I felt in the relationship I once worshipped. I remembered looking in the mirror and no longer recognizing myself, and I remembered the day that version of me finally let go. Maya squeezed my hand. You grew, she whispered. I did, I said softly. I think I had to break to understand myself. I had to lose everything I thought I needed so I could learn what I actually needed. She rested her head on my shoulder again. And what is it you need? I looked at her. This, peace, respect, someone who stands with me, not above me. Someone who doesn't love me for what I give, but for who I am. Maya's eyes warmed. And you have that now. I do, I said. We sat in silence again, but this silence felt full, not empty. After a while, I stood and walked inside. There were old journals stacked on my bookshelf from the time I was trying to heal. I picked one up and flipped through the pages. I saw the hurt, the confusion, the way I clung to something that was already gone. Maya came beside me. Does it feel like a different life? She asked. It feels like a different person, I said. I don't know how I lived like that. You were surviving, she said gently. Now you're living. I closed the journal and set it aside. I don't hate her, I said. I don't hate any of it, Maya nodded. Because it made you who you are now. I felt that settle inside me. I wasn't carrying the pain anymore. I was carrying the lesson. Later, we sat on the couch, her legs tucked under a blanket, my arm around her. She traced circles on my hand. Do you ever think about what life would have been like if things went differently? She asked. I thought for a moment. Maybe sometimes. But I don't wish it was different. If I never broke, I never would have learned. If I never lost her, I never would have found you. If I never fell, I never would have risen. She smiled, eyes soft. You're stronger now. I am, I said. But not because of pain alone. Because I learned to choose myself. I leaned back and let out a breath I felt like I had been holding for years. I used to think I wasn't enough, I said. But now I know I was just enough for the wrong person. Maya took my hand again. And more than enough for the right one. Her words wrapped around my heart like warmth. I whispered, Thank you for loving me gently, she whispered back. Thank you for letting yourself be loved. A soft quiet settled over us again. I looked out the window at the world moving outside. People were walking, talking, living. Life kept going. And finally I was moving with it. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need closure from someone else. I didn't need apologies or explanations or proof. I only needed myself. And I found him. I held Maya's hand a little tighter. I'm ready, I said. For what? She asked. To live, I replied. And this time I truly meant it.